So on this episode, we're going to be doing some boat things. So
Boat stuff.
boat stuff. So yeah, so stick around. You're watching the Vasko Speed and Performance YouTube channel. Okay, so on this episode, we're actually going to be working on my brother-in-law Kyle's boat. So this is a 1990, I think. I'll ask him when he gets back in here. He went out to go to get a tape measure. But it's a 1990 fountain, right, Kyle?
91.
Okay, 91. So it's a 1991 fountain. It's a 42-foot long boat with twin big blocks. So last year, they bought the boat and the motors were both hurt. So we pulled the motors out, had the motors rebuilt by Kaufman Machine. So he did those. They're 555 cubic inch, carbureted, and they make about 700 each. So pretty respectable.
Good numbers.
Yeah, not too bad. And they still got carburetors on them, so we're not really carburetor fanatics, but we're figuring that stuff out.
Screwdriver tuning, man.
Yeah, so we're doing that, but today we're going to be working on this. Let me flip this camera around and show you. Okay, so we're going to be working on, this is the drive shaft for the second engine, so they are staggered. So one engine's there, one engine's there, and this one's got a drive shaft. Well, the drive shaft has a shield that goes around it, and last year we were out cruising it around, and the shield came loose.
A little floppy.
The shield came loose, and we thought we had some real problems. We thought maybe we blew a motor up, but no, it was just the shield going around.
God.
Yeah. So it's like a clamshell deal. So one goes on the bottom, one goes on the top. The problem is it's too short. So we're going to measure that, make a longer one, and then we got some wiring to do. We got to put the exhaust back on. But Kyle's been working.
Maybe new headers, you never know.
He's not putting new headers on this. But yeah, so we will show you the process of us making a drive shaft cover for a boat. Okay, Kyle had to run over and sand apart real quick. So while he's over there, I figured I'd take a little bit of time to explain the boat. So Kyle is my brother-in-law and his wife is Courtney, and this is their boat. They bought it around, I would say, the fall of last year. So that would be 2023 or 4. Yeah, they've had it about 2 years now. And when they got the boat, it barely ran, and there was a bunch of issues with it. They got a decent deal on it because of that. So we ended up pulling everything out of here, having both motors redone. That one was a Gen 5 block. This was a Gen 4 block. So we ended up going through, had to bore them out so they're matching. Before they weren't matching. So now they're both 555 cubic inch motors. We took them to the dyno. I believe Driscoll is a local shop around here that dynos engines, and they both made around 700 NA. So pretty respectable for a big block. The only thing we saved off of the old motors, I think, was the blocks and maybe some like random stuff like the water manifolds on the front. But yeah, new intakes, new carburetors, new distributors, everything. So the throttle cables, these actually came in from the front, but with the Dominator, we had to put them under the back. So I made these on the plasma table, these little brackets, and then we powder coated those. And then we also made the one for the MSD box, and it holds your coil. So we made those. But yeah, we got these things in here, rewired it, and got everything all squared away. Had to redo the fuel system, but just doing little stuff to it this year. One of the things is Kyle added C strainers. So there's one there, and then there's one there, and they've got a like really thick plexiglass top to them. And so what happens is your outdrive, that hose that runs into there, comes off of your outdrive and it goes into your C strainer. So if there's any debris like sticks or anything that gets sucked up, it goes into the C strainer, and then it'll stop it in there before it goes into your oil cooler. So this boat didn't have an oil cooler on it when we got it, so we added an oil cooler to it. Both motors have their own. There's one on the back of that one too, I believe. This one is a oil cooler and a power steering cooler combo. So we did that. But last year we were just trying to get the boat on the water, so we didn't really want to mess with the engine harnesses. So that's one of the things we're doing this year is we're going to redo these engine harnesses. So he got new ones. So these are what that's laying in there. So we're going to, trim it to the correct length and make all the sensors and stuff work. Because last year we didn't have an oil temperature sensor. And on a boat, it's a pretty crucial thing to have an oil temperature because, if you're singing at 3 or 4 or 5,000 RPM going down the water, the lake is your radiator. So the engines in theory should never get hot, but the oil will get hot. So you want to try to keep your oil temps down. So that's one of the reasons we're going to start monitoring that this year. Also with the coolers, that'll help. So yeah, kind of cool. Boats are just different. I'm used to cars, so I've learned a lot over the past 2 years with these things. And yeah, kind of exciting to see this thing get transformed from what it was to what it is now. So, but yeah, pretty neat. Okay, so I don't know if we ever actually talked about what all we're going to be doing on the boat, but what we need to do is we're going to rewire both engine harnesses. So these are the engine harnesses here, and they've got like these old school style connectors. So we got new harnesses for each engine, so we're going to rewire them, relume them, make that look nice. Joe Kaufman, he owns a machine shop here in town. He machined this tie bar down for us because it was actually too long, and both of the outdrives were actually going out too far. So he trimmed it down for us a little bit so that we give it some more adjustments so that they should be going straight now. So that's that. And then obviously we're making the drive shaft guard, since the old one was right here and it was just made out of some steel, and it actually it wasn't long enough, and it came off at one point and was making a rattling noise. We honestly thought we blew the motors up, but
they're brand new.
Yeah, so they were brand new motors, so that would have been a good thing. So yeah, but that's what we're doing to the old fountain. So something different for the channel. We thought it'd be kind of cool to document this. Oh, and there's a Sea-Doo out here too. It's not ours. It's just some random person that just drops it off here and leaves it here. He's modded it out. See, he's got his crescent wrench here, and look in here. He's got a little. Yeah, that's how you know it's a fast one when you got a little air filter on it. So we're gonna head back over to the other shop, and we are gonna weld up the drive shaft containment deal, and then we'll come over and install it.
They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that could make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. I got all this potential that's deep inside of me, but they hate when you're successful cause they try to be. They sit there being judgmental because you're trying things, and they just want you to settle and do the right thing. So get a good job, don't slack off. Wake up every morning, make a good impression on your boss. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do.
Think it'll fit?
I think so.
Do you want to mark it for the hole?
Underneath?
Yeah.
I was just gonna kind of measure and make it a little bit bigger.
Oh, okay. Well, we can do that.
Washer on the bottom.
Do you think that the 6 inches will be plenty?
Oh, like the diameter of the pipe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'll be fine. That it's bolted up in the same spot on each end.
Yeah. And then we just clamshell it with the top piece, and we might have to drill a hole for those grease certs right there. But
I think maybe come in. We can do that just so it's not like in the way. What if we come in like an inch
on the little
on
tabs?
the tabs.
Yeah, we can do that.
What do you think of that?
I'm all good with it. And I was gonna put 2 at each end and 1 in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Success. Okay. Okay. Well,
I'll have to figure out. Oh, that's a decent size. It's probably like 5/16.
you could probably check on the other one, the old one, right?
The hole that's drilled in the bottom. I can look at it.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see what size it is.
All right. Okay, so this is the idea. We're going to weld these tabs onto this half. Be 3 on this side, 3 on the other side, and then 3 on that one. So might actually have to cut out more, but I think we'll be all right. We'll figure it out. Anyways, so yeah, these will be on here, and then this top piece will bolt down to the bottom piece. So I am going to get to welding these on here.
Who are you to tell me how to live life? In these times it feels like nobody's right, yeah. So I'ma figure out what else we succeed, and then invest all of my time into that and proceed. I need whatever the hell could make me happy, and I don't think you have a clue what could that be. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that can make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that can make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. I think this life could be special if I get rid of the devils. They think that I am a rebel, I think they want me to settle. There's nobody on my level. They think that work is too stressful, I think that work is essential. The grind is all in your mental, and I don't think you understand what I'll go through just to be in control of my life soon. All the negativity, man, I'm immune. I don't really need a mask with all I've been through. I've been making changes for life soon.
Look at these big old metered fuel leaks.
I don't really need a mask with all I've been through. I've been making changes for the ages. 5-10-year plans are contagious. I attack that shit, I'm tenacious. And if you ain't, get the fuck out of my way then. Got one life, I won't regret it. I will fight until I get it. I'll look back one day from heaven and say, damn, I learned some lessons. And say, damn, I have no questions. I had fun in every second, and the journey was a blessing, yeah. They tell me that
How's it going?
Oh, it's going.
Did you get it in yet?
Nope, not yet. I'm gonna try to not go through this and see what it looks like.
Boats are cool, aren't they?
They're you might notch it just a hair with a bit.
Like make it a little bit longer
Yeah,
or
just like
bigger.
along.
Okay, so we successfully made our drive shaft. What do you call this thing? A drive shaft
Drive shaft guard.
guard. Yep. So we made that. We ended up using 11 gauge aluminum, and it is 6-inch diameter, and we just cut it in half. And it has bolts that bolt to the bottom on whatever you call these things.
Transom plate.
Transom plate.
Yep, transom plate.
Kyle is schooling us on all this stuff. But while we were here, so there's this bolt right here that seems to be a little bit on the loose side. So I noticed that one's loose, but let me see if I can show you back here. So this bolt right here, this one is super loose. And it also rubbed a hole in this oil line. It's kind of hard to tell. I took a picture of it, so we'll add that in the video. But you can kind of see that it got into that hose. That hose pretty good. So while we're here, I'm going to tighten this bolt down since it's super, super loose. And then we're probably going to take this hose off and put a new one on it. So another thing I did. So these are, what do they call these, Kyle? They don't call them air cleaners. They call them flame arresters. So essentially it's the same thing as an air cleaner, but they don't use any like cotton or anything like that. It's all metal. And so in case the engine has a backfire, it would catch on fire and you wouldn't know it necessarily. So they try to not use anything like that. So they call them flame arresters. But Kyle bought these from a marine place, and they're really, really nice. Pretty thick pieces of aluminum. And so we kind of came up with this idea because the boat's got some neon green to it. So we powder coated these neon green, and this is exactly how the top looked. But I thought it would be kind of cool to do something a little different. So I designed this piece here, and I cut it out on my plasma table to make sure it would work, and it did. Ideally, it wasn't as crisp as I wanted, so I sent this file to Send Cut Send. They laser cut this out of 1/8-inch aluminum. I countersunk drilled these. I didn't want them to do it because I didn't want this one countersunk, because this is just a wing nut that fits on there. So I countersunk these, put it on there, and powder coated it black. Turned out pretty good. But, over the year of working on it and everything, you're setting beer cans on there and, brake clean or something got on there and it messed up that one. So we'll fix them, get them. We'll probably just flip this one over and then put it back all together. But, yeah, we may end up re-powder coating them. But Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen. So okay, so we're on day 2 or evening 2 of boat modifications. So Kyle made it back out, and we actually got out before the sun went down, which is a pretty hard thing with Kyle because he's got 2 kids and there's a lot going on. So we usually don't get out here till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, you know, and start working on the boat, and we don't get a whole lot done. So it's nice for Kyle to make it out here a little bit early.
Just to make Brad's life a little easier.
Yeah, trying to make my life a little easier because I'm getting old, you know, I can't be out here too late and I start falling asleep on him. But yeah, so we got some of this wood out of the way. So my father-in-law is building a new house. So with all this wood out of the way, we can actually kind of see how big this boat is. 42 feet of fun. You don't measure boats in miles per gallon. You don't measure in any of that. So you measure in how much fun you're going to have. So this is a 42-foot fountain. Definitely going to have a good time with it this summer. But nevertheless, we are going to be working on the engine wiring harnesses tonight. So Kyle went ahead and got these brand new wires here. Look at him straightening them out. You'd think he wasn't an HVAC guy. You'd think he was an electrician with the way he's handling those wires. But we are going to wire the engine harnesses up tonight and hopefully get that knocked out because he's got a strict order that he has to have this boat on the water by the weekend. So usually the way it works with Kyle, he's like, hey, I haven't worked on it all winter long. I need this thing done now.
Now's the time to shine.
Yeah, so.
Last minute, man.
Yeah, so we are going to work on this thing. We'll do some time lapse of us wiring this thing up, and then hopefully, if all goes well, we might hook up some water to this thing and put some fire in her and burn some dead dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah.
We go, woomba, woomba, carburetor life, right? Okay, so we'll get some wiring going. Okay, so once again, Kyle left me here in the hole of the boat. He ran over to make the oil line that was messed up. So while he's over there doing that, I figured it'd take the time to show you what we're doing. So basically, this is the bulkhead connector for the engine wiring harness. So we just got from here over because this is all factory from the boat. So we were running the wires back here to this MSD box. And then there's 2 wires that go over that way. One's for the oil temperature and the other one is for the oil pressure. And then the other harness comes down here and it runs down up underneath here, goes to the starter. So you've got like a battery cable and then you've got like 3 wires. One of them goes to the alternator. Actually 2 of them go to the alternator and then one of them goes to the MSD box. And then this little wire right here is going to be the starter signal to tell the starter to crank. This is the tack wire, so I soldered it. I need to put the heat shrink to heat that up, and that goes to the MSD box. And then we'll loom all this up, and we've got the heat shrink on there. And then there's one that comes up here to do the coolant temperature. I need to get some loom on this, and I need to heat shrink this one. But I think we're missing a nut on the back of the alternator back here for this one. So marine alternators actually, they take I believe it's 4 wires. So you have a power, a key on power, which is the purple wire, and then you have a black wire, which is the ground. And on a boat, since you know there's no chassis that's grounding, you pretty much have to ground everything. So even if the case grounds to this, it's a kind of a redundant ground on the alternator, even though you have a ground wire going to the block. But so yeah, so this one's pretty much done, and Kyle's been slacking back here, so he still has a bunch of wires to figure out on his engine. I worked on that one the last time, and it's a pain to crawl back there in that hole, so I told Kyle it's his turn to crawl back there. So if you have back problems, don't work on a boat because it doesn't make it any better. But yeah, so we're almost done with this, and then he can throw the exhaust on it, and then we'll hook up to these up here. We'll hook up water to them, then you can fire them up and run them on shore or on land. So yeah, so coming together. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel, so we're almost done. Go for it. Boom! Helps when you hook up this little red wire here. I didn't have it hooked up into these other wires, so now it is. But yeah, now this engine should run. We should be good on that one, Kyle.
like when they get power.
Yeah, we didn't. This MSD box wasn't lighting up, and so it was a confusion on my end. But this little power wire needs to be key on. But we got it, so it's good now. So at least the front one should run. So I did my part.
Now to the back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully the next video we have is of this thing running.
That'd be great.
Let's see what we can do. Okay, so that's going to do it for this episode. So if you guys like the boat content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.